HiveMind, this is set number 75338, Ambush on Ferrix from the LEGO Star Wars theme. This set contains 679 pieces, 3 minifigures, and will retail for $69.99 in the US. This is an all-new set that does not release until August 1st, 2022, but it was sent to me early by the LEGO group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. Before I get started, I'd just like to ask you guys to please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Over the past couple of days, I've already done early reviews of 3 other Summer 2022 LEGO Star Wars sets, and I have some other really exciting stuff coming in a few weeks. So by liking and subscribing, it'll help put those videos in your feed as soon as they're posted, and also really help support me in the channel. But with all that being said, let's get on to the review. So this set is of course based off the Andor TV show, which as of me recording this has not aired yet. So if you're watching this video in the future, I won't be able to relate this to like how this vehicle appears in the show, so I'm just basing it on how I like it as a standalone set regardless of the source material. Now this was one I wasn't that excited for. If you watched the Woo Crew podcast when me and Matthew first saw this set revealed, I wasn't that excited for it. I said it looked small and kind of boring. But having it in hand, it's genuinely one of my favorite Star Wars ships I've gotten in a long time. I'm shocked I like it so much, but no, this thing is really nice all around. The price still is not great. However, of the 4 sets I've reviewed, it's the most fairly priced one, and I think it is genuinely really solid. So let's take a look. My favorite thing about it is just all the panels on the sides, how it like wraps around to create a very smooth look. Obviously, there's lots of exposed studs and everything, but they're done tastefully. The texturing pieces like the Nexonite shields and the ingot pieces, they're used in just the right amount, where it doesn't feel like there's too much where it's overwhelming, but there's just enough to create a variation between the tiles and the studs and everything. It looks really nice, and I love this angle right here to transition from the front to the side. And then on the side, once again, there's that combination of ingots, Nexonite shields, studs, and plates. And then there's one sticker right here to add a little bit of detail. Again, I feel like that's used perfectly. It adds a little bit, but it doesn't feel overbearing, because they could have easily put stickers here and here too, but they didn't, and I think that's really nice. Just having these flat plates looks really good. Out of the back, you see one of the few splashes that come on this set. You have a little yellow logo down here, and you can also see there's a few yellow stripes on this wing. These tiny little wings are attached to these big engines at the back, and they can actually be rotated if you want. You just spin them up, spin them down, and they are like locked onto the build and everything. Like they're not going to come loose unless you're actively moving them, but that provides you with like different modes you can display the vehicle in. The wings completely up, the wings completely down, or something in between. Again, I'm not exactly sure how this vehicle is going to actually move around in the show, but I do believe the wings are meant to go up, because you can see on the underside there actually is another sticker there, so they took the effort to make sure the underside of the wings looked good as well, which I do really appreciate, because a lot of times LEGO will really only care about the top and not really care about how the underside of things look, and while yeah, this isn't as pretty as the top of the wings, it still looks pretty solid. There's a look at the backs of those engines. Lots of cool texturing and everything. Like the studs here are really good. I like that great piece. And then when we come to the other side, it's all pretty much identical. Slightly different sticker right here. If anybody wants to translate that text too, please do in the comments. And then we get back around the front. You can see there's a little Technic piece right here, I assume to represent some sort of like blaster coming out the front of the ship. On the top we have one of the Speed Champions windshield pieces, which is printed on all sides actually. This I really appreciate, because whenever they sticker windshields, it never looks good, because there's always going to be bubbles in the stickers, so the transclear stickers just aren't going to look as nice. But printed windshields really look amazing, and I think this fits super well here, and it transitions from like the solid color to the printed transparent color really well. There's also a little turret on the top right here. Obviously, there's a turn in the center that you just use your imagination for, but if you actually want to represent it shooting, there's 2 stud shooters on the side, which are the newest stud shooters introduced this year, and you can push down on them, and 2 tiles will shoot out. And then in terms of opening the ship up and accessing the interior, there's a few places that can happen. First is at the very back. This doesn't access the main interior, but this is something that can open. You grab onto this little clip piece right here, which is not super convenient. I wish there was a nicer place to grab on. However, you could sort of just stick your fingers along the side, and like kids with smaller hands than I have might be able to get into here a little bit easier. But you fold that down and it's essentially just meant to be like a wall with a little bit of storage space. You can see in here there's 2 clips, one of which is holding a blaster. That's just one of these standard LEGO small blaster pieces, so you can use that as an accessory for one of the minifigures in this set, or you could store any of the other accessories that come in this set on the other clip in here. But that's about it for this back section. Not a ton of room in here and not the prettiest from the inside. However, when it is closed up, it does look really nice. Like genuinely, I love all that texturing and everything. But if we want to access the main interior of the ship, there is 3 different ways to do that. You can pull down either of the walls and the sides. You can see both sides open completely flat. And then this windshield area actually hinges up as well. This all feels very smooth, there's no jankiness to any of it, and I appreciate how it's all actually still connected to the ship as well. I know most ships do that, but every now and then they'll have something where you just completely remove the part. I like that all of this is locked into place. None of it is like take off and put back on. Inside there's a total of 5 seats, so I'm not sure if this is going to be some sort of like troop transport in the show, but if it is, there's plenty of room in here. The seats do look pretty nice too. I especially like the backs of the chairs that they have built. That's a small touch, but I don't know, it really adds a nice bit of detail. Then in the center you have what I assume is like a little fire extinguisher, as well as a crate which can be removed. And if we open that crate up, you can see there is actually nothing inside. Okay, yep, I just went and actually double-checked the instructions, and no, it never says to put anything in this crate. So I guess you could store like extra stud shooter studs in here if you wanted, or like one of the minifigures blaster accessories, but it's a bit weird that there's nothing in here by default, but I'm never gonna say no to like extra storage, so it's still alright. Oh, and also, just like with the ATT, if you remove these accessories, you could probably fit maybe one more minifigure in there, so that would bring it up to a total of 6 figures. Then we come to the driver's seat, which just uses a standard LEGO chair piece, and then it has this really elaborate console design. You can see there's a total of 3 stickered parts as well as 2 pieces to represent, I guess, more buttons. But I actually think that looks really cool. Normally in ships like this, we have very tiny little consoles, but this reminds me a lot of the kind of things I see in sci-fi movies like Star Wars all the time. So it's actually cool to see that translated into a set. I think it works really well. Here's how the driver of the vehicle looks when you place him inside. And then you can close the entire ship back up around him. There's how the vehicle looks with the driver inside. You can just barely see him through the windshield. But yeah, I actually think this looks really good. Obviously, again, I don't have the context of like what this vehicle is going to be in the show, but it just feels very complete, gives that like Star Wars sci-fi vibe, and also it's just a really fun model to put together and is a really fun toy to play with. There is play features here and like things to move around, but none of it detracts from the looks of the build. I genuinely think the model is really fantastic. And I really am shocked just like how much I like this set. But of course, that's not the only thing in this set, so now let's move on to the side build and then the minifigures, and then I will give you my overall thoughts. So here's the one and only side build in this set, this little speeder bike. And we get speeder bikes for Star Wars characters all the time, but this has to be one of my favorite I've ever gotten, if not my favorite. For one, I really love how the seats are actually 2 characters, not just one. There's clips on the side to hold accessories. The bike itself isn't what sits on the ground. There's the engine at the bottom, just like you see in the shows and in the movies. And you can imagine like that's what's holding it up and propelling it forward. And then I love this entire build at the front, especially this right here. This is a LEGO whip piece in black, and it's meant to represent wiring coming from the front to the back. And it has it like looped around one of these bar pieces, and I think that looks super cool. It almost feels like it's not LEGO, but it's using standard LEGO parts that have been in production for years. So I think it's really cool to see, and it all comes together really nicely. And they actually took effort to make the underside of the bike look pretty good too. Not that it needed it, but it's there, and that's nice to see. Here's a look at how the bike looks with a minifigure riding on it, and here's how it looks with a second minifigure in the back seat. Yeah, definitely not as interesting as the main build of this set, but this is a really good Star Wars speeder bike, and feels like a very substantial side build. I actually really like it. Now moving to the minifigures, starting with the first one in the set, we have Cassian Andor himself. And this is a fantastic minifigure all around. Right off the bat, it uses the all-new skin tone that was introduced with The Mandalorian earlier this year. I'm really happy LEGO's introducing more than just their standard 5 skin tones. It just introduces more accurate ways to represent different people, and I believe this is only the second set to ever use it, but I look forward to seeing it used in more sets in the future. But regardless, it fits Cassian Andor really well, and obviously because it is a new skin color, it is also an all-new face print. They don't reuse anything here. And wow, it is a really good face print. I like the beard and the cheekbones and the expression and everything. They really capture the actor's likeness and personality in this figure. And then in terms of the outfit, like I don't know, sometimes Star Wars figures, the outfits just get boring to me because they are just sort of generic looking clothes. But this one really stood out. Dark brown is a color I feel like they don't use too often for clothing just because printing on dark colors is rough for them. But this looks really good. I like the light brown printing on top of the dark brown torso. It adds like a nice little streak of detail. And then the green and gray robes underneath, like the brown jacket, that looks really nice, and I like the idea of a jacket covering up another outfit. It all comes together really nicely. Cassian also uses the Old Man Luke hairpiece in dark brown. Not a new color for that part, but it's a nice one to get. And then removing his hairpiece there, you can see a full look at his face print, as well as his back torso print and alternate face. Alternate face, once again, really good face print. I can see that being used in a lot of customs in the future. And back torso print, I like how it has like a little hood hanging down. Yeah, with this one, pretty good all around. I really appreciate that they went all out with creating like an accurate minifigure for the main character of the show. Then the next figure in this set, we have Luthen Rael. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. If anybody knows the correct pronunciation, please let me know in the comments. And he is, once again, a really well-detailed minifigure. He has the similar thing with like the jacket over top of a regular outfit that Cassian has. However, this time around, it's a green jacket, which I actually really like. The overall color combination is not as interesting because he just has less colors than Cassian. I do like the touch of dark green though that you see. I just wish there was a little bit more of it. That's not criticism of LEGO though, it's probably more criticism of his design in the show. Still though, it looks really nice, really high quality, and I really like the accessory they gave him. This is one of LEGO's gun pieces, however, it's one they very rarely use, because even though it is like goofy and LEGO, it is probably their most realistic looking gun piece, or most realistic modern gun piece. So it doesn't come in sets too often, but it's always a really good part whenever you get it, so I'm happy to see it being used here. And then he once again has an all-new face print just like Cassian, and it looks to be like an older man face with like wrinkles and everything. And then he reuses the Mr. Incredible hairpiece, which is a really good part. I'm surprised it's still in production, but I'm not complaining because I would love to see this part used more often. And then around the back, he once again has a hood just like Cassian, and then if I remove his hairpiece, there you can see his alternate face where he's more angry. Again, I feel like this is a face that could be used on a lot of customs. Yeah, so far, 2 really good figures. And then the final minifigure in this set, we have Syril Karn. Again, I don't really know what purpose this character serves in the show, so I can't really say if this figure is good or not. Because if he is a major character in the show, I'd actually be very disappointed by this face print, because this is one of LEGO's generic face prints that they use usually for, like, unnamed characters. So for named characters, I prefer if they get, like, proper unique face prints. However, if Syril Karn is just a character we see once and then he dies immediately and then we never see him again, then I think this face print works well enough. Regardless though, face print aside, the outfit's really cool. It reminds me a lot of the Bespin guards from episode 5. However, obviously he's got like this orange accent that they don't have. I especially love that's printed on the hat. I think that's a really cool touch. And the orange on top of the blue is a really striking color combination, but I think it works pretty well. There's a look at his back torso print as well. And while this is definitely the least interesting figure in this set, there's still a lot to like about it. And again, when the show comes out, this could end up being someone really important or someone really unimportant. Can't really say right now. And if you're curious, here's what the face print looks like with the hat removed. And I'm sure you've seen this before, it's just on like stormtroopers and whatnot. It's a fine face print, don't get me wrong. It just indicates to me generic, unnamed character. So seeing it used on a named character is weird, but he may end up being just a generic character in the show. And so, what are my overall thoughts on this set? I'm surprised to say, but I do really love this one, and I would highly recommend it. Now, of all the $70 sets LEGO has made, is this the best priced one? No, very far from it. However, the price is not nearly as bad as the other 3 I've reviewed recently. Like, this is a pretty solid $60 set at least. So if you find this on sale for 10-20% off, I would highly recommend it for that price. But even at retail price, if you think you're going to enjoy the Andor show, or after watching Andor, if you were really interested in it, I do think you should pick it up. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a very complete, very solid build, and even though it is just another great Star Wars ship, something about this feels very unique. The angles, the shaping, the detail, and just how much room is in that interior space and how detailed it is. It feels very thought out, very nice, very complete. So while it's certainly not for everybody, if you are interested, I would recommend it. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please just like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I do LEGO videos just like this one almost every day, so if you subscribe, you'll be the first to see them. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!